Now, the last topic that we will discuss in this course is security with serverless. And in this lesson, we will discuss some security best practices. We will talk about how we can protect our application, and we will talk about how we can protect our API using API Gateway. Now, remember that when you are developing an application that will be deployed in AWS, the security is a shared responsibility. AWS will be responsible for the infrastructure security, but we as application developers are responsible for the application security. And when we use serverless, it puts more responsibility on AWS because now AWS needs to take care of more parts of the infrastructure, but we still need to protect our application. Well, AWS has quite a lot of responsibility with serverless. It needs to do platform management. It needs to take care of operating system security. For example, it needs to install new operating system updates. It provides code encryption, so it will store our code encrypted. And it provides isolation between Lambda functions running in AWS environment. Now, on our side, we still need to take care of application security, and all recommendations still apply. For example, OWASP top 10 list of security vulnerabilities is still relevant. Now, one thing that we need to pay a lot of attention when we are developing a serverless application is how we configure IAM permissions. And we need to restrict what resources a function or role has access to. And we need to use the principle of least privilege. And we need to do this to ensure that if our code is compromised, configured IAM policy will allow to limit the blast radius of an attack. And we also need to ensure that our data is encrypted, and it is a good practice to enable encryption at rest for services like DynamoDB and Kinesis. And the last but not the least, we need to handle secrets securely. So we need to use services like KMS, Secrets Manager, Parameter Store, and so on. Now we also need to protect API of our application. We need to enable throttling, and we can configure throttling per stage or per method. And we also can throttle individual customers. To do this, we can use an API key and require it with some methods. And notice that API key is not for authorization. It allows to set maximum amount of requests per each API key, so it can allow us to throttle individual customers. Now we also can validate incoming data that comes to our application. We can either do this using API Gateway or we can implement it in our code. And the last, we can use a firewall to limit access to our API. API Gateway is integrated with another Amazon service called Web Application Firewall.